Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Luis Fernandez. When you're driving in Wake County, are there any intersections that make you worry? Maybe you make sure to pay extra attention. Maybe just avoid them altogether. WRAL Investigates has looked into what Wake County intersections have the most accidents and what's being done to make things better. Sarah Krueger joins us now. So Sarah, drum roll please.
Oh, here we go.
Can you give us the top 5?
I can, yes. So number 1 is I-40 and Aviation Parkway. Number 2, I-440 and Capitol Boulevard. Number 3, I-440 and Glenwood. Number 4, I-440 and Wake Forest Road. And number 5, I-40 and South Saunders Street. And if you all drive any of those regularly, you may be nodding right now.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by any of those. A lot of I-440 in the mix. Yes. A lot of highways in general, kind of adjacent. So when you say most accidents, what backs that up? What kind of numbers are we looking at here?
Yeah, so this story was born out of just curiosity from me. When we do these investigative reports, sometimes they come from viewer tips via call, via email. This one was just I was trying to think of a story that would really resonate with our viewers. I know I hear often about traffic being a big concern. Most of us drive every day. Some of us may be, fortunate not to have to. But so I filed a public records request with the North Carolina Department of Transportation for the 10 intersections in Wake County that have had the most crashes for the first half of this year. Important to note that the DOT does not maintain every single road in Wake County. So this is just state-maintained roads, which are a lot of highways. These, each one, I can pull up the list right now as we're talking. The number 1 site had 44 crashes, number 2, 41, and it goes down from there. Number 10 had 29 crashes. And important to remember, crashes obviously most impact those who are involved in them, but then really everyone, with the traffic, there's a lot of people looking at the crashes that can, cause additional trickle-down effect there.
Traffic is... I don't know if there's anything that makes me more frustrated in this world than traffic, especially when you're driving and you're waiting to see what it is and then it's nothing, or it's something that's been pulled off to the side and it's not really impacting the roadways. Did you get a chance in your reporting to go out to any of these intersections and check them out specifically?
I did. So my first stop was number 1 on the list, I-40 and Aviation Parkway. And some interesting things when I went out there. First of all, you stand in the intersection, there are pieces of cars everywhere in the median, pieces of bumpers and taillights. So it's clear that, this is a pretty frequent occurrence there. And then I went to, there's a Sheetz that's really close to that location just to try to talk to drivers in the area and hear their perspective on the intersection. And, I'm going up to just literally random people. First one, interview, great. Second person I go up to, he's like, yeah, I've been in a crash at this intersection. So, if that doesn't, speak to it, I don't know what does. And these are the intersections with the most crashes. It's within 150 feet is how they measure it. And important to note, it's not necessarily the most serious crashes. That's a separate data point that I learned the DOT does track. So I'm sure I will also be requesting that one day. But these are just the most crashes. So hopefully, knock on wood, most of these were, not serious and were fender benders or something like that. And the whole list, it's a lot of highways, as you mentioned. And it makes sense, the roads that have more traffic would have more crashes.
Sure, just a matter of number of cars, number of people. So that, I think, answers this a little bit in part. Was there anything else, whether it's talking to officials, talking to people, seeing the actual intersections, that makes these intersections in particular more dangerous or more prone to crashes?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to know. I think with this one by the airport, I could assume, yes, A, we know it has a lot of traffic, but then B, maybe it has a lot of traffic of people who are in a hurry trying to pick someone up from the airport or make a flight, or people who are not from this area. It could be things like that are playing a role in it as well. And one thing that I asked the DOT about was about that kind of thing, and the spokesperson definitely said driver behavior could be a big part of this, and unfortunately that can be tougher for them to like do something about in a tangible way. But yeah, I think number one thing that they pointed to was like these are intersections with a lot of traffic.
Let's go ahead and take a break there. When we come back, what's being done to make these intersections safer? You're listening to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Luis Fernandez. We're speaking with WRAL Investigates Sarah Krueger about what intersections in Wake County have the most accidents. We've gone over the list a bit, but the question now that I have for you, Sarah, is what's being done? What can you do to actually improve upon these circumstances?
Yeah, so that was, of course, one of the top questions I asked the DOT as well. And I was happy to see a number of things that are planned or in the works for these intersections, probably more than I can get to right now. But we have the full, like, verbatim that they sent me on WRAL.com with this story so that you all can see the top 10 list, see exactly what's being done. But for example, that number one intersection, which was 40 and Aviation Parkway, the DOT says they have a project that will make an auxiliary lane on 40 between Harrison and Aviation Parkway, so that'll give drivers an extra lane. And they have, other things for other intersections, including like traffic signal improvements, pedestrian improvements. So when I was talking to the public information officer for the DOT, she mentioned like they are tracking this data for this exact reason so that they can then try to make whatever changes they can, noting, of course, that they have finite resources like we all do and a finite budget, and they maintain so much roadway. I think the last time I got data from them, it was like they maintain more miles of road than any other state other than Texas, my home state, a very, very large state with a lot of roads that I spent many hours driving as a child. But yeah, so they do have a lot of projects in the works, and you'll be happy to see those. We'll have those on our website.
So we've kind of taken a lot of time today talking about how bad things are in these intersections, but it's nice to know that the DOT is aware of this problem. They're trying to find ways to fix this problem. Are there any examples of bad intersections becoming good, or at least less bad?
Yes. So when I did this interview with the DOT, that was something we actually met at one of those intersections that used to be really a problem spot intersection and now has seen great improvement. And that's the intersection of Old South and Penny Roads. And that's why they wanted to meet there to say, like, hey, this used to be really bad, have a lot of crashes. They've made some engineering changes to the road, and now they're calling it a huge success story. They said crashes are down 91% there. Wow. So, yes, so that's, they have engineers. That's what they do. They go out, they analyze what improvements could be made, and they act on as many of those as they can. That's
WRAL Investigates Sarah Krueger. Sarah, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Before we go, a reminder, Tuesday is Election Day across the state. Most of North Carolina's 551 cities, towns, and villages have elections Tuesday that will help decide local leadership for years to come. Essentially every big city but Raleigh, as well as most North Carolina suburbs and small towns. You're looking at city or town council races, commissions, mayoral races. Polls will be open from 6:30 a.m. until 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday. If you are in line, you will be allowed to cast a ballot. You will need to show a form of photo identification to vote as well. Now, we have more information on our website, WRAL.com. Just look at the NC Capital section, including the big races in Wake, Durham, and Cumberland counties. Remember, voter turnout in municipal elections is often pretty low, which means your vote can truly make a difference. I'm Luis Fernandez. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and for making us part of your morning routine. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email with Triangle news, events, and headlines to help you get ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.